Good Tuesday morning of the 25th week. And if you missed Monday, it's because I didn't do it. I forgot. Oh, my Lord, I forgot. Then some of my friends in Alaska got a hold of me. Where are you? Where's that? No, they weren't that way. But they said, we didn't see you this morning. I said, oh, for Pete's sake, I forgot to do them. Oh, my. Anyway, today is the Tuesday of the 25th week. It's the Proverbs. These are sayings. Proverbs are sayings. They're part of a wisdom of a culture. We used to say in the monastery, wet birds never fly by night. It's a stupid sentence. And maybe it might have some truth to it, but it was kind of, maybe it has meaning. These do, what I'm getting at, they throw their lines. And they encapsulate to some extent. Wet birds never fly by night. It means don't act foolishly, futilely, something like that. I'm trying to think what the guys were hustling when they said that in the house, in the monastery. But these are proverbs. These are wisdom sayings that you see them in your own home. You can hear them in your own home at times. They're sayings that are handed down, and they encapsulate a wisdom. If you analyze the dickens out of them, you might evaporate their meaning. You may tear the meaning out, but they're suggestively provocative. And they are usually the part of the fabric of the wisdom of a culture. My dad had those. It's a culture that expresses itself in proverbial forms. I think that's what it is. Anyway, it's... let me read them to you. I'll read a bunch. There's a whole bunch of them all week long. But watch what he says here. He says, like a stream is the king's heart, and the hand of the Lord, like a stream. Wherever it pleases him, he directs it. See? Boy, look, this is something. These are all the ways of a man may be right in his own eyes, but it is the Lord who proves hearts. See? You might think you're okay, but it's the Lord who judges the heart. You remember there was that book, show, something called I'm Okay, You're Okay. It was very popular 60 years ago. And there was some truth to it, a lot of truth to it, but there was a lot of falsehood to it too. Because people were justifying their life by saying, I'm okay, you're okay, even though they weren't okay. Part of wisdom is to know when you're not okay. See? I saw some pretty stupid stuff get passed off for I'm okay, you're okay. No, you're not. Anything but. Look at this. I'll show you this. To do what is right and just, is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. See, our Lord made those kinds of phrases, you see. See what he says? To do what is right and just. It's better than making sacrifices. Do the right thing, you see. I'm going to just show you some other. Haughty eyes and a proud heart. The tillage of the wicked is sin. Your pride will do you in. Your vanities will do you in. Listen, this is a great line here. The plans of the diligent are sure of profit. Diligency leads to profit because it's wise. But all rash haste leads certainly to poverty. Throw your money around, you'll be broke before you know it. In other words, if you're diligent, you'll do well. If you're not, you won't. That's the whole point. A rash haste leads certainly to poverty. You're gonna waste. You're throwing your money around, you won't have any when you're done. But that counts for everything in life. If you act in a rash manner, you pay a very high price for it. The poverty of life itself, probably. Here's a really powerful one. Whoever makes a fortune by a lying tongue, by deceit, you see, listen to this image, is chasing a bubble over deadly snares. Your head's up, you're chasing fantasies while your feet are right above snares. You're going to get caught. You're going to get caught. Chasing, see? By being a liar, you are chasing a bubble over deadly snares. You're going to get caught. And that's fatal. I think maybe the worst thing, one of the worst self-destructive sins is to be a liar, because you lose trust almost virtually immediately. Once your foot's in the snare, it's hard to extract that. If you're an honest person, even when you have to say, that's my fault, and you mean it, and you tell the truth, you can be trusted to tell the truth. And you can be trusted in life. You don't have to be caught in more than a few lies before. I hate it when I see children lie, because you're sowing seeds of a vice that will make you, in the end, self-destructive. That's the truth, because you're not truthful, you're not reliable. See? What? Let me just see what else is here. So this is the last one on this list. He who shuts his ear to the cry of the poor will himself also call and not be heard. As you judge, so shall you be judged. I love these proverbs because they're provocative. I mean, you could take them apart, you can do what you want, but they're not intended to be essays. They're intended to be insights. When you hear them, you see them, there's a direct truth to it, as long as you don't overload it. You see it. There's a wisdom in it. And it's wise enough that it becomes, over time, a saying. But the saying is a truthful saying, and to be wise to listen to it. See, I think that's right. I think that's very, very right. You see that, you see that in elderly people. They've seen it all, done it all, tasted it all. And sometimes out of a simple remark, there is a profundity of wisdom. I don't know, one of them won't come to me at this moment, but I think of my father and mother sitting at the table. My grandmother was the oldest person I ever knew who was related to me. She was my mother's mother, so she was a generation older, 3 generations, see? And there were things she would share, and there was a wisdom in what she would share. Having lived a life, both intelligently and heroically at times. See? I like being with old, reflective people. Go to a nursing home and just sit down with them. Don't try to tell them anything, just sit with them. And it's interesting sometimes what they have to say, or what they tend to appreciate. See, some of the folks will say, even to me, they'll say, thanks for coming around. We really appreciate it. I like you visiting with us, or something like that. And you don't think much of what you're doing. But they do, because they value your presence. They value the visit. See? I forgot who said that to me recently, and it was touching. They appreciated, I guess, that I spent a few minutes with them. Out of the ordinary, you see. A lot of wisdom out there. And that's why you almost have to be old to become wise. You could be smart, but you're not wise. Wisdom comes out of the experience of life, not out of the books. You'll never become wise by reading books, be it reading philosophy or something like that. I'm talking wisdom now. It's the reflective life you live, and the experiences you have, and those around you as they tell their stories. It's interesting. My kids in class, this was last year, said to me, tell us some more stories. You tell us stories. They didn't ask me to explain Plato or Aristotle or Aquinas. They said, tell us stories. We like your stories. Tell us stories. Why? Because, as one kid says, you teach wisdom, you don't teach philosophy. And when am I teaching the wisdom? It's when I'm telling stories. And what are the stories? Who knows? Very often it's about the kids in the old neighborhood. The street knowledge. Family knowledge. I've been given a gift by God to be able to recognize these sources of wisdom, and I can articulate them. So I share them with the kids. And they seem to absorb it because they want to hear the stories. Tell us the stories. Tell us some stories today. They don't mean for me to make them up. Tell us about the kids in the neighborhood. See? Tell us about Frankie Coppola, Jimmy DeSallo. You see? The tough guys, the good guys, the this, that, the streets. What it is to grow up in a neighborhood with names and faces and friends and some dislikes, you see? Tell us stories. Anyway. Hey, what is the Bible but storytelling? Isn't it? Yes, it is.